Welcome back to What's the Story. I am Dan Kennedy, and I am joined by Tony and Chuck, the band The Devil in California. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time.
Yeah, you got it.
So we're here today to talk about your brand new record. Just came out in July, and tell me about where you recorded and who produced your self-titled record.
So, the name of the studio that we recorded in,
with Tim Narducci.
yes, and Brad Barth, is killing me. And I don't remember it right offhand.
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank
Forgot
too.
my own name right now.
I know.
Okay, cool. We'll circle
Anyway,
back.
the thing is Mr. Tim Narducci, who is also a big part of Valley of Fire Records, which is a label that we've made close friends with lately. He is an amazing engineer and an amazing producer. And so the other guitar player in our band, Stephen Lynch, he was like, I really want to record our record with Tim Narducci. And so we were like, hey man, we would love to do something a little different. We've kind of done things a certain way for a lot of years. We were like, let's do it a little differently. So Tim was like, my buddy Brad has a studio, and Brad's fantastic too. Brad Barth, who's a great guy behind the wheel as well. So we had two super rock stars helping us record this record. But it was a fantastic experience. And for me personally, it was the easiest, best sounding record I've ever done.
Excellent.
It was so smooth and so everything just fell into place and people drove the ship so well. I don't know what else I could do to compliment it. And you know, I mean, I'm no rock star, but I'll tell you right now, I've probably made 20 records in the time that I've been on this planet, and you know, it's always a little more arduous. But this was just a great experience.
Well, and I wanted to ask about Valley of Fire Records. How did you get hooked up with those guys? It's because you put out your first 3 records,
right? So
completely yourself.
So a gentleman by the name of JJ Garcia has partnered up with Tim Narducci, and they started Valley of Fire Records. And I think that the premise behind that is a very grassroots approach with only music that they really, their heart is into, and only music that they really feel like they could get behind in general.
Yeah.
And usually it's kind of the opposite. You know, usually it's like, oh, let's get as much as we can and see if something hits and try to figure something out. Maybe we can sell these guys off to somebody else and make a little bit of dough. And these guys that's not really where they're at. So Valley of Fire has a handful of artists right now under their guise, and we're one of them, and we're just looking to the future and seeing how that works out.
All right. So on this record, you just released a music video for Through the Flames.
Yes.
It's a tribute to our United States Armed Services.
Yes.
Can you tell me about the making of the video and the concept behind it?
Well, Through the Flames, you know, it's an homage specifically to my cousin Aaron Rigmaiden, who spent 20 years of his life in the Air Force, and he did 3 tours in Iraq, and he lost a lot of really close friends, like all of his really close friends. And you know, conversations that I've had with him kind of steered me towards the lyrical content and the message. And when I brought it to these guys, this guy had the riffs that were you know, just absolutely fantastic, and everything just like
Kind of
melded.
it wrote itself.
It wrote itself. It was very, very easy, you know, with Chuck's guitars, and I had a sort of idea of what I wanted, but I knew what I was going to call it, and I knew where the direction I wanted to go, but that was kind of it. And then literally like a week later, it was like almost completely done, and we haven't really changed it that much since then.
Okay, awesome. And so the two of you wrote it together, or was it the whole band?
It's a whole band, but I'm just saying it was one of Chuck's riffs.
Yeah. So you guys have been lucky enough to get actual radio airplay on the Bone, where they're on their Soundwaves local music stuff. What kind of response have you gotten from them, from having your music actually played on the radio, which nobody does now? So.
Yeah, it still helps.
Yeah.
It still helps. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, radio, whatever, you know, we're moving towards a digital format, but you'll never have anything that will replace the live moment of a radio broadcast.
Yeah.
And so we've been lucky enough to partner with Soundwaves for years, and we're very close with all the jocks on the Bone, you know, Chasta and Baby Huey and Lamont and Tonelli. You know, it's nice that we have that at our fingertips, so to speak. Because if I call up Chasta, I mean, she's just like, original local music, I'm here to help. Same with Dennis and everyone at Soundwaves. It's the same thing.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So, Tony, you are hands down the best lead singer in the Bay Area, at least, if not California.
Wow.
Who were your idols growing up?
Well, I think the easy go-tos are the obvious big ones. You know, I was very much an 80s kid and very much a 90s kid.
Yeah.
So, you know, Chris Cornell is definitely a true hero of mine, steered me in a certain direction in the 90s. Well, actually in the 80s too, because the first time I saw Soundgarden was in 1989. But you know, I mean, it's Freddie Mercury, David Bowie. It's a lot of the big cats that you would think of. You know, like like Billy Squier and you know some of the more 70s into the 80s guys that you're just like, you know, I mean, some of my first records were, you know, Def Leppard and Prince and you know, AC/DC and man, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But it's really hard to say there's one thing because you're just kind of shaped by your environment in a lot of ways.
All right. Yeah. And what about you? Who are your guitar heroes?
Guitar heroes. Well, I grew up a heavy metal kid, so Dimebag Darrell was one of the first.
One of the best.
One of the true, like Eddie Van Halen, obviously. All the iconic guys that you think of right away. But Dimebag was probably the first one that made me want to play guitar like that. Like, I want to do something different like that guy.
What are your thoughts on Pantera being back together without him?
I think it's great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
there's
I saw
a line.
them.
There's a line. Some fans are never.
I saw them back in the day,
fans,
so people that didn't get to see them
I
back
saw them
then,
a bunch back in the day too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like our friend Thomas had never seen them back in the day and went to see them this time around, and he enjoyed the shit out of it. So
I'm sure it's a good show.
yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
No.
And you know, Zach's no slouch,
Oh God.
and
It's
Charlie
not-
Benante is no slouch.
Yeah.
So those guys aren't out there running through the motions,
and they're not trying to.
They're
be
not mailing
Vinny
it
and
in,
Dime.
but they are giving homage, you know. And so, yeah, it's not Pantera. Okay, you know, that's fine. It's still amazing though.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
people get to hear those songs again in an arena live setting. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Phil singing those songs,
Yeah.
absolutely. So your song Black Hand is absolutely kick-ass. Who wrote that song, and how did that song come together?
So, a long time ago, in a land far, far away, there were two different guitar players in the Devereux, California, Jamie Cronander and Snake Green, and Black Hand was cumulative between us three, starting with Jamie.
Yeah.
So that was definitely our first single 10 years ago when we first formed the band. And, you know, my wife did the video, and we, you know, and it's just been one of those staples that we're still playing, and we're going to play it tonight.
Good.
So you know, it's a great
tune.
tune, and even though after the pandemic, life changes, things changes, we're all still very, very close friends, Snake and Jamie and everyone in the Devil.
Yeah.
There's been no bad thing that happened. It's just people chose different paths.
Yeah.
And so we all knew that was a possibility after not playing music together for a couple years. And I mean, Chuck's basically in the Devil because, you know, in a way, I'm thankful that his band broke up because, like, I get Chuck, you know, and I've always wanted to play with Chuck. And so it was like one of those things where Steven's band broke up, Chuck's band broke up, my band broke up, and we all kind of came together, you know, the old Burn River Burn guy, and then, you know, Swamp Hammer and Devil in California, we all, you know, came together and managed to pull another semblance of the Devil out of our hats.
Yeah.
And it's been really good, and the music is different, but it's really inspiring, and it's been some of the best I think that the Devil has produced.
It sounds like it to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, the visual look of this band, you guys have some great logos. What artists have you worked with to create your visual look?
Sticky Graphics. Byron C. Sticky is his name on social medias, and then we have a good friend who came up with the black and white Spade logo.
Yeah.
And Mike, he owns Everlasting Tattoo in San Francisco, and Mike and I have been friends. Oh my God, some of my first tattoos when I moved to the city were from Everlasting. So yeah, I mean, Mike's done this, and my entire back piece is all Mike. And
we all have tattoos from Mike.
Yeah, everybody's got tattoos from Mike. Yeah, Mike Davis. I'm sorry I didn't mention his last name. And Mike Davis is an exceptional artist, and he's such a sweetheart too, because he's one of those guys who I was just like, Mike, you know, I'm gonna commission you because he's a very well-paid artist, and I want to commission you for a logo. And then Mike's like, here's this rad logo. I tweaked it 5 times. Here you go. And I'm like, oh shit, how much do I owe you? This is amazing. Exactly what we were thinking. Simple, kind of old school rock and roll. Yeah. He's just like, no, that's my gift to you, you know. So yeah, Mike Davis. He's everything that's on our merch booth right now. That's him.
That's great stuff.
Yeah.
So, Tony, I want to read you some names of some songs, and then I want to ask you a question about these songs after I read them to you.
Okay.
Endless Love. Diana Ross, Lionel Richie. Huge song.
Yep.
Don't Know Much. Linda Ronstadt. Aaron Neville.
Yep.
Islands in the Stream. Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton.
Yep.
Stop Dragging My Heart Around. Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty. Close Your Eyes Forever.
That's a good one.
Close My Eyes Forever, pardon me.
Yeah.
Ozzy and Lita Ford. Duets can be gold. Who do you want to sing with? What female do you want to do a duet with?
None, because the first one that you mentioned,
yes,
Matt and I do a version of it.
No, I'm not talking about what cover songs. Not a cover song, but what female would you like to do with?
What artist would you like to?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, there's a million
female
great
artists?
female artists out there.
Dead or alive?
Well, sure. I mean, alive would be better.
Yeah, I think alive would be better. I think I'd want to sing with Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her voice is just amazing, and she's bombastic, and she is just a force.
Yeah.
You know, I think that she's a fantastic female artist. So if I had a chance to pick someone off the top of my head that was popular, it would probably be her.
All right.
But the joke is not a joke. Like the first song that you mentioned with Diana Ross.
Yeah.
Matt and I do that, and we want to record it because I do Diana Ross and he does Lionel Richie.
Oh, really?
And it's like we fucking nail it, and we always end up laughing, you know, and like joking around about it. But when we do it, it's like, oh shit, that's really good. We would mess people up with that one, you know, and then people would be like, what the hell's going on with the devil in California? Well, so when you said that as a first song, it just immediately cracked me up because I'm like, oh yeah, we already do that one.
Well, maybe do a few bars tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. So last two for you guys. I know that Tony, you are at least in my age range where you spent some of your formative years in the 70s. I'm not sure about you, but I'm guessing maybe.
Close.
What were your guys' favorite toys growing up?
Oh, that's
anything Star Wars for sure.
Yeah.
And then like
Star Wars and Star Trek.
I had the stunt motorcycle. That was by far the best.
Yeah, that was well in the mix. I loved all the Star Trek stuff too. You know, like the little thing that just goes around circle with the Enterprise, and you go down and pick up the things and go back. And of course, you know, being born in '70. Star Wars was an amazing force in my life and still is.
Yeah. Don't forget about the Hot Wheels race
Hot
tracks.
Wheels, I had all that stuff, you know. So, yeah, I mean, anything 70s really is just like, that was amazing. Stretch, you know.
Stretch Armstrong. Yeah.
What about you? What was your favorite?
I had a lot of favorites. A couple that I was thinking of today is lawn darts.
Yeah,
those were pretty amazing.
Those were awesome.
Darts, yes.
Those were awesome.
And
we got hurt very badly with lawn darts.
Yeah.
Someone lost an eye.
And Play-Doh barbershop.
That's pretty sick. Press it and it comes out the top. Well, and also don't forget about like the big wheel and like the bigger ticket items. That was a little later, but yeah, the big wheel. Big wheel was the shit, you know.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I want to say thank you to Devil in California for their time today.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you for watching us. Leave us some comments about this band, and let's have a great conversation. See you next time.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.